everybody, it's been a while since I last uploaded another one of the Art Noob review videos, so today I thought I'd talk about my experience at LightBoxExpo. I did have a mentorship with Andy Kung around the same time, but that is going to be saved for another video. So this year LightBoxExpo was not online, so I had to spend some money to go to LightBoxExpo this year. The main reason I went was to get a portfolio review on my portfolio piece. I tried not to expect much, but I think my expectations were still a little too high, even though I tried to squash them down to nothing. I was kind of expecting the experience to be similar to other conventions I've been to, but oh my gosh, there were way more people than I expected. LightBoxExpo took place at the Pasadena Convention Center, and the area was really nice, and the parking situation was okay if you went a little bit earlier. There were a few spots here and there around the convention area, and you just had to pay $7 or so to kind of stay the whole day. I was terrified that the car would be towed away, so we left one of those little Apple phone trackers in the car the whole time, just in case. The first thing we noticed were the lines. My friend and I had gotten about halfway to the front of a line, but we weren't really sure if it was the line to get in, and not wanting to waste our time, we asked a few people if it was the line to get our badges. And the person we asked said they thought this was the line to get in after you'd gotten your badges. So we popped out of line and wandered around asking people. And then we met someone who confirmed that the line we were in was the line to get the badges. Anyways, we ended up getting back in the line at the very end, and those people that were there before were gleefully skipping towards the badge kiosk. That could have been us. It was a bit confusing at first, and I wish there had been more clear signage. When we finally got our badges, I finally got a chance to figure out where in the world the portfolio line was. And when I saw it, it was 10 miles long and barely moving. At this point, I knew I was in for the long haul, so my friend went to some of the panels while I waited in line. We were moving like snails. The line was so slow, and with every second, another spot to get a portfolio review disappeared. And so much time had passed, maybe 2 hours, that by the time I had gotten right in front of the desk where they were doing the sign-ups, a woman came out to give us the disappointing news.
Sorry, all portfolio reviews are full. You'll have to come back tomorrow morning.
So many L's in this trip. So by the time I had popped out of the portfolio line, it was already 2 p.m. and I started wandering around the exhibitors hall. There were so many cool studios that I saw, and that game company, the creators of Sky, had a booth there. I was so surprised that they were there. And I awkwardly asked if they were selling any merch, and the lady expecting me to have gotten up there to ask for a portfolio review just awkwardly told me that the person that was selling stuff wasn't there at the moment and to come back later. It was very awkward. Unfortunately, I'm not a 3D modeler, so I couldn't apply for any of the job openings they had. Sometimes I think I should try 3D eventually. So after that, I bounced from booth to booth, not really talking to anyone because I was very intimidated, but just looking at all the cool displays every exhibitor had. I think Riot was there, Blizzard, Warner Brothers, Netflix, DreamWorks, Disney TV, Nickelodeon. I'm probably missing a bunch more, but that's what I remember. And I was very nervous. So the exhibitor hall fed into the artist alley, and this was my favorite place in the whole convention. I was fangirling so hard. Many of my favorite artists were there, including Michelle Lamb, aka Mew Tripled, Sophie Lee, Coconut, Ross Draws, Ethan Becker, Irie Pan, and so many more. And best of all, I got to see my mentor, Andy! I did get to meet the rest of the people from the mentorship, but I'm going to be talking about that in my next video. For some reason, I didn't find his booth until the second day. So I attempted to get into various panels, but it was all for naught. The lines were almost equally as long as they were in the portfolio review line. People were lining up 2 hours before the panel started to get in. And the panel rooms were very small, so there wasn't enough room for everyone. I think the only thing I really did on Friday was do a live drawing session, which I loved. It was so much fun, but I left early to catch the Oni premiere by Tonko House because I expected people to be lining up out the door in the theater room as well, but I was really surprised that there weren't as many people in the theater. I loved watching the first 2 episodes. It was so endearing, and I was super excited to see the rest of the episodes on Netflix. I feel very fortunate that I was able to see the showing in a theater, and I also got to see Robert and Daisutsumi do a little talk at the very end. So that was kind of how my Friday ended. So Juju and I came back to where we were staying and slept the night away. And then Saturday came. So honestly, not a great start to Saturday morning. It was raining a little bit. So granted, it wasn't raining that hard, but it was raining enough to make you feel clammy and wet. 2 hours before the convention even opened, there was a huge line out the door that wrapped around the entrance building. And it was such a long wait. If I go next time, I am bringing my umbrella. I made it inside to again see a huge line of people in the portfolio line. The line was a bit faster this time, but it took an hour for me to get up to the front, and the portfolio reviews were filled up again. At this point, I decided to just give up on trying to get a portfolio review and randomly decided to get into the lines in the exhibitor halls to see if they would do a portfolio review. So a few months before this, I had randomly found out that Netflix was doing an emerging creatives program, and I decided to apply, not thinking anything of it. And a few months later, I opened my email to delete some spam emails, and there was an email from Netflix. I thought it was going to be one of those scam emails, like the one Blizzard scam that was going around. But I checked the email and it seemed to be alright. So I read it and it said they were still looking for projects to put me in, which was cool. But I didn't and still don't expect anything out of it. I looked on Reddit the other day and many other people have gotten this email from Netflix and they are saying don't expect much. But it's worth giving it a shot if you find the application. I found the application through an Instagram recruiter who used to work for Netflix. I'm not sure where she works now, but I'll put her link in the description below. I did end up talking to the head of the Emerging Creatives program at LightBoxExpo and asked her about the email, and to my shock and surprise, it meant that I had made it to the final round of the people who applied. But unfortunately, the industry kind of stopped hiring during the winter, apparently. Anyways, after this, I figured out the long line in front of the Warner Brothers booth was actually meant for first come, first served portfolio reviews. So I stayed in that line, and this time, waiting an hour or two was actually worth it. I got to see a recruiter and I got my portfolio piece that I had finished in Andy's class reviewed. And I felt kind of bad because all of the recruiters looked extremely tired and artists were lining up out the door just to get this portfolio review done. So after I got my portfolio review, I went back and explored the exhibitors hall and the artist alley a little bit more. I did manage to get into one of the panels with TB Choi, and it was super crowded in there. I had to sit on the ground in the back, and the rooms were kind of split up with these red curtains, so it wasn't really clear where the barrier was. And some of the staff had to escort some people out because we were starting to create a fire hazard. Fortunately, I got to stay for a little bit, and then I managed to meet up with one of the classmates that I had in Stephanie's class, and we got a humongous injolmi kinako bingsu, and that was the biggest dessert I've ever seen in my entire life. And that was basically the end of the LightBoxExpo experience. Next time, I think I'm just gonna go with the expectation of hanging out with friends and meeting people that I know online. If you have the opportunity to go next year, I would say go for it. It's really fun to meet new people and to be surrounded by other artists who have similar goals and aspirations as you, and it's just generally super fun. Don't go in with any expectations of getting a portfolio review because you probably won't get it. I feel like every single person who was there to meet recruiters and get a portfolio review done, and there were just way too many people. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Next video will probably be about my mentorship with Andy Kung. That was really great as well. I don't know what my next steps are after this. I'm just gonna try to keep doing my portfolio and we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!